Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10 short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Friday, September 27th, which means we're into a Q&A episode, always my favorite episode of the week. Thank you so much for finding us. This show is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering, what's next? For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question, whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with the insurance companies. Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 70,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. It also reminds me of daytime television when you're homesick and you're watching The Price is Right as a fourth grader and you see Edgar Snyder pointing at you. So it's very cool to be able to read that. Thank you guys for your support. Anyway, let's talk a little everything. Some really great questions. I always tweet this out, usually Thursday night, Friday morning, asking for submissions and just overwhelmed with them. Just incredible job, guys. All right, so I'm going to bounce around, try to hit all sports. Obviously, a lot of Pirates discussion right now, and this is sort of a good overarching question. I think a lot of people are wondering. Angelo Pappas asks, why is Shelton still the manager? Well, because Bob Nutting is letting this process play out. And this has been a point of contention. I think it was September 11th. Ben Cherington said that he expects Derek Shelton to come back. This is something I and others have been investigating this week. And I mean, what I know is that Bob Nutting's process is not concluded, and that doesn't surprise me. It would have surprised me if Bob made that declaration on September 11th. It happened in 2019. Let things play out, make the decision afterward. I think that's not saying that Shelton's going to go. That's not saying that Shelton's going to stay. I don't think Bob knows. I think he's in the process of figuring that out and learning more. I think that process probably concludes Monday or Tuesday. I don't see how they continue with Shelton as the manager. I think they've really underachieved this season. I don't think they're where they should be. I think there's a lot of things wrong with this, clubhouse culture wise, young players getting better wise, all this stuff. But you're asking, why is he still the manager? Because I think they're committed at this point to finishing the season and then reacting. Okay. Who do you think the line mates will be for Sid and Gino, and how will the bottom six play out? Anyone that might surprise you this season? That was asked by Brian Oliver. And Brian, thank you so much for the Penguins question. Really psyched to see some Penguins hockey. I've been up there a few times. We'll be up there a lot more. But anyway, the way I see the top six shaking out at this point, you're probably looking at Sid with Drew O'Connor on the left side. I can't go away from that. Brian Rust on the right. Gino, probably Michael Bunting on the left, and Ricard Raquel on the right. As far as the bottom six, I've liked what I've seen from Kevin Hayes in the middle. I think I'm probably inclined to keep him there. Obviously, Lars Eller is going to be one of your two centers. Depends on how you want to stack your third and fourth lines. Blake Lizotte has been noticeable. I think he gets a spot. Be interested to see what happens with Rutger McGroarty. I think coming in here, a lot of people expected him to challenge for a job. I'm not sure he's achieved that separation thus far. We'll see. And then the other spots are kind of up for grabs, I'd say. Cody Glass is probably somebody you'd like to see earn a job. Anthony Beauvillier is somebody they've been giving a lot of opportunity to. He spent time with Sidney Crosby. He's been on the second power play unit. So, I mean, if that's it, I believe I named 12 forwards. If that's how it ends up looking, it wouldn't shock me at all. You'd like to see maybe Sam Poulin earn a job. He's, I think, 5 years pro at this point. It's behind schedule. So we will see, but those are about the way I'd expect the top 12 forwards to look. Boston Commons asked a good one, or I'm sorry, Boston Common. How far up has Pitt pushed its floor and its ceiling this season? Pitt's 4-0. Very impressed by what the Panthers have done. I think a lot of people picked them to finish toward the bottom of the ACC. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, do I think Pitt's going to challenge for a college football playoff berth? No, I don't. That would be tremendous. I'd love to be covering that stuff. But, I mean, I think that their floor, people probably thought, 3-9 again, they're going to be a disaster. They're not going to be able to fix things. So many guys are leaving. Transfer portal, the offense isn't going to be any good or whatever. I'm saying that's like the total negative perception. The ceiling, you're probably like, well, if they can win, 6-7 games, maybe go to a lower tier bowl. I think they've probably raised that from, 6 or 7 games lower tier bowl to if Pitt finished with 8 or 9 wins and went to a fairly respectable bowl and competed in the ACC. I think that'd be a darn good season, and I think that's realistic. If you get to 10 wins, I know that's kind of crazy talk, but Yeah, that's about where I see them. All right, a fun question before we get to our break from David Potter. Favorite place outside of Pittsburgh to 1, watch a game. 2, city to eat in before a game. City with the best views. Favorite place to watch a game would probably be hockey at Bell Center in Montreal. It's just so different than anything in the States. It's a great building, number one. The way fans treat it, just the on-ice presentation, the seriousness with which it's taken. I mean, it feels like you're walking through a cathedral. This is also coming from somebody who's not seen a game at Yankee Stadium. Fenway Park is darn close. City to eat in before the game. This is going to be a funny one. This isn't my answer, but it's something I say a lot of times to make people groan. St. Louis. No, I would not pick St. Louis over DC or New York. And New York's probably my answer. I mean, I don't know how you can go to Manhattan and not eat incredibly well. DC is probably a close second. But I just sometimes throw St. Louis out there because they do have a couple really good barbecue spots. Salt and Smoke is one of them across from Busch Stadium. Really love it. 3, city with the best views. I think I'd go with Vancouver for that one. Tough to beat that. If you stay in like the Harborfront Hotel, just look out your window and it is stunning. Everywhere you go in Vancouver is fantastic. I love it, and I miss it. All right, going to take a short break with our message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm back with more of your questions on the other side on First Time.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
And welcome back to First 10. I'm your host, Jason Mackey. We're here Monday through Friday, about 10 a.m., about 10 minutes, something like that. Thank you so much for checking us out. And we do Friday Q&A segment, dancing all around the Pittsburgh sports scene. And so, let's take a look. We'll get into some more Pirates questions here. What could the return be if we see Ben Cherington trade Luis Ortiz? That's asked by Nolan Grossman. He's not going to, and he can't. There's absolutely no way I'm trading Luis Ortiz at this point. If anything, Nolan, I'm looking at Ortiz as a foundational piece for a very good 2025 starting rotation. Think about Skeens, Jones, Keller, Ortiz, maybe Falter in there. You're going to get Oviedo back. Bubba Chandler could be up. Mike Burrows might be missing a guy in there, but rotation-wise, they should be very good. Obviously early, but what should the realistic expectations for the Pirates be next season? Craig Sopp at Scrambled Craigs asked that one. Craig, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. The expectations should be for them to compete for a playoff spot. Let's not forget that 5 years ago, they blew this up. Total regime change, went through 3 years of a rebuild, transition year last year. All is not screwed in Pirates land would be my argument. They're behind schedule this year. The fact that they, climbing from 3 terrible years to 76 wins, you figure you want your win total to climb into the 80s. And I'd argue that the Pirates have 83, 84, 85 win talent. They haven't played to it. They're probably going to play to 76 win talent, which is a problem. And I think it's going to necessitate a lot of changes. How those will figure it out. But I look at the Pirates as somebody who, at minimum should be winning 85 games next year. You'd probably like to see them win more. I think before this season, I would have said your trajectory is kind of like 83, 80, 45. And then you're looking at 90. That should be 90 for next season. I know that's insane right now because you're thinking 76 wins to 90 wins is a lot. But there's also been a lot wrong, and it depends on how much you fix it, how aggressively you fix it. I think there's a lot on Bob Nutting. So I think that's more than you asked, Craig, but that's kind of where I'm at with next season. Let's scroll down a little bit. This is one. Giuseppe, when will Bob Nutting sell? I only get this about 100 times a day. But it is an interesting point that I wanted to make, and I'm actually writing about this for Sunday, tied to the aggressive changes that I think Bob Nutting needs to make this offseason. I mean, if he's not willing to make them, if Bob Nutting cannot see that things are broken right now, I don't see how you can continue, or I don't see why you should continue. Isn't that why you own a professional team? Because you're unsatisfied with losing and you're willing to do anything that's possible to make it better? Nobody's asking Bob Nutting to open up his wallet and spend $100 million on players. They're asking him to look at his team objectively and say, this isn't what it should be. This isn't what anybody signed up for. Shoot, this isn't what you said it should be. So do something about it. Don't be content being mediocre. And sadly, that's sort of defined ownership around here. I looked up a bunch of numbers. Again, those will all be in the Sunday piece. I believe it's posting online Sunday morning. But if you look at like winning percentage, Bob Nutting's career winning percentage as a Pirates owner translates to about a 74 win season. That's not good enough. If you go through, look at the Rays, the Guardians, the Royals, similarly situated teams, even the Brewers, the Orioles. We're not talking about the Red Sox and the Yankees of the world. Nobody expects the Pirates to be that, but they should be expected to be like Cleveland. There's nothing that says they can't be like Cleveland. And during Nutting's ownership, the Guardians/Indians have run circles around him. And if you're not willing to make aggressive decisions the way that other teams have done to not tolerate winning, it's time to sell. That's not a vindictive, or I'm not taking shots or whatever. I'm saying that is the essence of professional sports. And I don't know how anybody else could look at what has happened on the field this season and say things are okay. They're not. So again, that's sort of my sermon. Quickly, I could go on for much longer about Bob Nutting selling. And, I get other questions. Is there any legit way to force Nutting out? I don't think so, other than everybody boycotting. And as I said earlier, I also don't think all is lost. Like, I think there's a lot of built up negativity, and I certainly understand that. But they have a pretty good starting rotation. I think the bullpen can be fixed. I think they have some pieces to build around, and they should have money to spend on targeted spots. Sorry, I'm going down another rabbit hole here, but like first base, you should be able to spend $15 million on that, if not more. You should be able to spend some money to fix your bullpen. I don't think David Bednar and Colin Holderman are broken for good. I think they've got some pitch tipping and consistency issues they need to get to the bottom of. They've got a very good catcher in Joey Bart. They figure out what they've got and keep Brian Hayes. Think about what he was the second half of last year. I'm not reaching to like 2017 to pull something out. Like, we saw it last year, what he can be if you can get his bat figured out. O'Neal Cruz was inconsistent, infuriating at times. But like, does anybody doubt what is inside of there? He's what, 25, 26? Get through to him, teach him some fundamentals, have him learn center field. You've got two of your three outfield spots figured out. Or you move Reynolds to first base and you spend $15 million on an outfielder. You've got to bring along maybe Jack Sawinski, a guy that hit 26 home runs last year. You've got to get Brian De La Cruz to get a little better than he's been, but there's power in there. There's a 20-homer season in there. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has been a, three-ish WAR player throughout his career. Get 3-ish WAR at shortstop. That's going to work behind a really good starting rotation. Like, all is not lost. You don't look at them and say, oh my gosh, they stink. No, I look at them and Bubba Chandler, Braxton Ashcraft, Mike Burrows, I might have repeated one, Thomas Harrington as well. Like, you've got arms in AAA. You've got pitching depth. You've got things that other teams spend a whole lot of time trying to get. So anyway, that's much longer than anybody bargained for. Just starting to rant about the Pirates, but there's just some stuff going on there. We're going to learn a lot in the coming days. All right, I'm over my time. Thank you so much, guys, for checking us out, especially on Friday for the Q&A edition, kind of an anything goes type of situation. I'll be heading to Indianapolis tomorrow with Ray Fittipaldo to cover the Steelers and the Colts. Looking forward to that one. Make sure you like and subscribe, and you get all kinds of fun content right here. I'll be back talking to you on Monday morning about that Steelers-Colts game. Thanks for watching First 10, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.